Mike Gallagher.
Let me try to tackle this. It's not healthy to be in a rage. It's not good for you. It's not good for your health. I've got a friend or a colleague who is angry, and I love the guy, but I don't know how he does it. His radio show is 3 hours of him yelling and just being angry. And we have a lot to be angry about, I get it, but it's not good for your health to be in a state of rage. But this story about what the Justice Department pulled yesterday regarding this would-be assassin has turned me into a raging maniac. I'm reading here from the Daily Wire. The U.S. Justice Department released a letter Monday written by the man accused of attempting to assassinate former President Trump at his golf club in Florida, in which the suspect allegedly admitted to trying to kill Trump. The guy wrote, allegedly, quote, "This was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I failed you. I tried my best and gave it all the gumption I could muster. It is up to you now to finish the job, and I will offer $150,000 to whomever can complete the job." This letter was released by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's Justice Department. Bill Barr, the former Attorney General, is dumbfounded that they would release this. He issued a statement saying that the decision to release this letter, putting a bounty on Trump's head, was rash and serves no purpose other than to risk inciting further violence. And that would be violence against Donald Trump, of course. They've put a target on his back. The Justice Department, I believe, my read of this, and you can please correct me if you think I've got the wrong read, they want to get him killed. I don't want to believe that. I'm loath to accept this. But what other conclusion can we have? You see, there's precedent for this. Remember the shooter at the private Christian school in Nashville? Killed 6 people, 3 kids, 3 adults? That shooter had a manifesto. And the feds didn't want to release the manifesto, they said, because it was a dangerous thing to do. It was going to put people in harm's way. So you've got some troubled, evil hater of Christians and whatever the motivation was there. The Justice Department saw fit to withhold the manifesto because it might put people in harm's way. But this guy writes an absolute specific message of a bounty on the head of Donald Trump. I'll offer $150,000 to anyone who can do what I failed to do, and that is murder Donald Trump. And Biden and Kamala's Justice Department saw fit to release that. Now, if you can give me a better explanation than they are trying to get him killed, I'd like to know what it is. 1-800-655-MIKE. If you can give me a better narrative. You know, I saw that despicable Richard Blumenthal strutting around last week, pretending to be horrified at what they're learning about the second would-be assassination attempt of Donald Trump. And I thought, boy, this doesn't seem right. He hates Trump. He's a stolen valor scoundrel. He's an awful guy. Isn't it nice that he's worried about Trump's safety? It's a scam. It's a total scam. He was projecting, they knew about the letter perhaps, and they were going to say, you know what we're going to do? We're going to put a big fat bullseye. We're going to put a big fat bullseye on Donald Trump's back. And when you recognize the level, the depths of evil that we're facing right now, it ought to turn your blood cold. It ought to absolutely turn your blood cold. These are evil, vile opportunistic, maniacal people. And I'm talking about the Biden-Harris administration. This is Merrick Garland and the Justice Department deciding to release this letter. And as Bill Barr put it, risk inciting further violence against Donald Trump. It's disgusting. It's shameful. It is one of the most diabolical things I've ever witnessed. Because if I'm right, we're not dealing with just people of a different political point of view. We're dealing with people who are like demonic. Do you know how demonic you have to be to try to get this guy killed because you don't think you can stop him at the ballot box? Do you realize how bad it has to be that you're trying to get this guy killed because you can't stop him with your awful candidate, Kamala Harris? Can you get over this? This is as insane as it gets. And this is as wildly, unnervingly evil as it becomes. I am so angry about this. I am trying so hard to contain myself. But this is what we're facing. And we can't turn away. You can't turn away from this. You cannot sit here and sort of pretend that this evil isn't real, because it is. It's as real as it gets. And this is what's on the ballot. And by the way, there's all kinds of questions about the details of behind this, how this even happened, how this even occurred. The weird timing. The guy delivered the letter before he even went to the golf course, as if it wasn't going to be successful. But I know one thing: the Justice Department is on record as not releasing a violent manifesto so that people aren't put in harm's way. But when it comes to Trump, they release it immediately. These aren't people with a different point of view. These are evil, demonic people who would stop at nothing to stop Trump. You got to know what's on the line here. There's a lot more coming up on this busy Tuesday. Don't worry, we're going to continue with this as well. 800-655-MIKE. I'm so enraged at the decision by the Justice Department to immediately release the contents of a letter that was discovered that was allegedly written by the assassination suspect, or the would-be assassin, in Florida. The guy wrote in a letter that was the contents of which were revealed by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's Justice Department. Dear world, this was an assassination attempt. I tried my best, gave it all the gumption I could muster. It is up to you now to finish the job, and I will offer $150,000 to whomever can complete the job. Nobody at the Justice Department thought that might be a bad idea to release such a bounty on the head of Donald Trump? Was there any reluctance to put Trump in further danger, in more harm's way, by releasing the contents of this lunatic's letter? The letter continued, everyone across the globe, from the youngest to the oldest, know that Trump is unfit to be anything, much less a U.S. president. Wow, does that sound familiar? Is that rhetoric that sort of rings a bell? We're hearing a little bit of that these days, huh? This guy who wanted to slaughter Donald Trump decides to take the moral high ground by writing, U.S. presidents must at bare minimum embody the moral fabric that is America and be kind, caring, and selfless, and always stand for humanity. Oh, okay. Well, if he's not, kill him, right? You vermin, you monster. You think you're doing, but listen, when you sit around and you say Trump is a threat to democracy, he's another Hitler, well, what do you think is going to result? What do you think the end result's going to be? Bill Barr, the former Attorney General, who is not a particular fan these days, it seems, of Donald Trump, was stunned at the Justice Department's decision to release this letter. He released a statement saying the decision to release the monster's letter is rash and serves no purpose other than to risk inciting further violence. Well, that would be further violence against Donald Trump, Mr. Barr. You can come out and say it. You don't have to pull your punches. You can come out and say they're trying to get him killed. Last week, that nasty old senator in Connecticut, the stolen valor creep, Richard Blumenthal, was strutting around saying, oh, I'm shocked, positively shocked at what we've uncovered. I thought, boy, this is kind of weird. He's a little vocal because you know he hates Trump. Why is he, what's he telegraphing? Connect the dots. Connect the dots. On Monday, DOJ releases a letter with a bounty on Trump's head. Look, I've been dealing with political disagreements my whole career. Obviously, it's what I do for a living. I was married to a Democrat. And even though she died in 2008, I still think about her all the time. I miss her. I adored her. She was the best thing to ever happen to me. We didn't agree on much politically. I would not be able to have a relationship with anybody who wanted to have their political adversary killed. I'd like to believe that my Denise would be appalled at today's Democrats. I'd like to think that my Denise would never have recognized what her party has become. This administration is evil, they are vile, and they are frantically and desperately panicking and trying to stop Trump any way they can. And that includes having him killed. You give me a better explanation for this. 800-655-MIKE. I am so angry about this, and I have been, I heard about this, I learned about this during the show yesterday, and I had to contain myself because I thought, I will go on the air and I will say something that's going to get me in a lot of trouble. Because this is how bad things have gotten. 90-year-old men being physically assaulted because they dare support the 45th president of the United States. A Justice Department, after having withheld the Nashville school shooters manifesto because they didn't want anybody to get hurt. That was a risk. But when it comes to Trump, all bets are off. I'm sick to my stomach about this, and any normal, decent person, Republican or Democrat, should be too. Let's find out. 800-655-MIKE, 800-655-6453. We're in the Relief Factor studios. It's Tuesday. We are 6 weeks away from the historic election where good might prevail over evil. And this is no longer right versus left. This is not Republicans against Democrats. This is good versus evil. And these are some dark, evil, terrifying people. 800-655-MIKE. We'll see if you agree. Your voice, your call, your perspective coming up next here on the Mike Gallagher Show.
Mike Gallagher.
Here's what Jesse Waters of Fox News said last night about this would-be assassin and the DOJ's decision to release the letter that he wrote.
The FBI says Ruth was motivated to kill Trump because he believed the former president was unfit and destructive to America's moral fabric. Does that sound familiar?
The American people must decide whether Donald Trump's assault on our democracy on January 6th
makes him unfit for public office. I've been saying for now well over a year, he is not fit to serve. Donald Trump is not fit to be the job of president, to be the commander-in-chief. And he literally is putting to the test this invisible moral fabric.
Ruth's letter purportedly says that he failed to assassinate Donald Trump and that he was offering $150,000 to anyone who could finish the job. So the Biden administration just released the Assassin's Manifesto that put a $150,000 bounty on Trump's head and called him unfit to serve. The same language Biden's used.
Wow. Now, if the shoe was on the other foot, if there was a Democrat who had been nearly killed twice, not once, but twice within the span of basically a few weeks, it's all the media would be obsessing about. The language of Republicans leading to the near assassination of whatever Democrat might be in this hypothetical. But when it's the other way around, there's nothing to see here. Let's just move on. Here's a text message on the MyPillow text line from Missouri. I'm so sick to my stomach over this release of this guy's bounty on President Trump's life. What is happening to America? It is truly a dark time for our nation. We have to get fired up and get out and vote for the only leader who can fix this, President Donald Trump. Here's Nick in Columbia, South Carolina. Hello, Nick.
How you doing, sir?
I'm all right. A little fired up today. How about you?
I've been fired up, man. I'm sick of the liberals. I don't even call them liberals anymore. I say leftists. I don't even want to give them a decent title. You ever notice years ago they preached tolerance? It was all about acceptance. Now they're intolerant, and they will not accept anybody.
They are the least tolerant category of American imaginable. They don't tolerate. They pretend to be all about free speech and expression, unless it's speech they don't like, and then they want to shut it down. But see, this has taken on now a different turn. This is beyond just stopping free speech. This is getting a guy killed. This is getting him murdered. And if you think I'm overreacting, I hope somebody will call me and tell me that I've taken this as a bridge too far. How else do you describe a Justice Department that refused? They had to go to court to ever get the Nashville school shooters manifesto released because they didn't want to release it because they felt that those words would incite violence. So they wouldn't release the school shooters letter, but the guy who wanted to kill Trump immediately released that. That's fair game. What other conclusion can you reach except for they want to get him killed? Steve's in Hayward, California. Steve, welcome. How are you?
All right. Hey, I remember about a month ago seeing a video where Joe Biden was saying we need to put a bullseye on Donald Trump.
Oh, some of them have come right out and said, I want to put a bullet in him. One of those goofy activists from the supposedly Republican Trump haters said that on camera. We need to put a bullet in him. How do you walk that back?